Hello and welcome to Across the Acres, a Beck's Hybrids podcast, where our goal is to connect, challenge, and inspire each and every one of our listeners by interviewing others whom have a story or message to share. I am your host. My name is David Ringer, joined by my ever-faithful companion, Morgan Fitch.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Today, we have a special guest, ladies and gentlemen. We're thrilled to have with us Scott Beck. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
Good.
Good to be here.
Good. And we got you a nice couch, so you're comfortable?
Comfortable.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Okay, fantastic. If we don't make the president of our company comfortable, we have failed at our job, Morgan, and really that's your job. So
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry if I fail.
He gets all the praise for what goes right, and sure.
And nothing ever goes wrong.
Right. Yes, correct. Well, you have been to Across the Acres before, just to be clear, but you had a co-guest, and Andy Andrews was with us.
Yeah.
Great.
Just about 2 months ago.
Yep, already been 2 months. Time flies.
Wow.
And Morgan and I thought, well, we can't have you share the spotlight. So we're bringing you back to our, is it nationally or internationally known?
It's actually internationally known.
Internationally known Across the Acres.
Yeah.
So we have at least one person. Well, Will is from Australia. Does that count? He listens.
Yeah, and we have 2 listeners in Germany.
There we go. So it's
and a few in the Cayman, you know.
That
down
counts.
there.
We will take it as a W. That is a win.
Absolutely.
But we're thrilled to have you here today. We're hoping to get just a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, of who is Scott Beck. Obviously, those of us who get the pleasure of working with you, we know you professionally. Some of us know you personally as well, but a lot of people don't. And so the first unfair question of the day is, in the ag world, you are what I would consider to be a celebrity because you own a very large company and people know your name. Is that at all burdensome to be known by so many people that you don't know or not?
It's certainly different.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes awkward when, I meet somebody and I don't know their name and they know mine. And so it feels a little awkward, but you kind of get used to it and know that, hey, we're just because we're known just doesn't mean we're any different than those that we're speaking to. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're going to know your name, and then they look at you like, what, you don't remember? We met one time 9 years ago.
Actually, I get a lot of grace.
Do you?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I mean, people think I say, yeah, I met you here. I don't expect you to remember there was 15 people there,
Good.
So.
Well, and I do believe as a whole, this is a generality, so they're all false, including this one, but as a general rule of thumb, the ag world is made up of good old boys, and most of us are pretty real and have realistic expectations of you.
That's true.
I think that's okay to say.
Yep.
And so it's not putting you in the shoes of some celebrity in Hollywood. It's different. It's the ag world.
Yep.
Which can feel small. Is that true also? That the ag world can feel pretty small at times?
Yeah, it does. And I remember back when I first started in the business, going to the local Indiana Crop Improvement Conference, and a lot of seedsmen gathered, a lot of industry people, and it always intrigued me how we're all competitors, but yet we show up at a conference and we talk about what's going on in our business. Sometimes we share some relatively internal business knowledge with others, that things that have helped our business and could help theirs. Yet we all go back out and compete. I think it's changed a little over the years with the larger company dynamics coming in and that aspect of it. But still, you still find a lot of camaraderie and commonality among the seedsmen in the industry.
That's pretty unique, I would think.
Yeah.
And spending some time in the food business, it was small also, but there wasn't a lot of, hey, I'll help you, you help me, unless it was a symbiotic relationship. If it wasn't direct, you weren't communicating with your competitors necessarily.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes our world unique in one of the ways.
Yeah, and what's unique about our business today, which, it's not a secret, is that we are partners with our major competitors,
Yes.
major companies that have competitive brands, let's say. So that's another unique dynamic to the industry, to our business, that where we find ourselves in unique conversations with, those that we're competing with, as well as partnering with, and how do we navigate so we both have a better outcome, including the farmer.
Ooh, absolutely. Yep. And that's ultimately whom we want to win, is the farmer.
Yeah. If the farmer wins, then our companies are going to survive.
Absolutely. And thrive even.
Yep.
From a non-work perspective, we know you have some hobbies. I know you got some hobbies, but they may not know you have some hobbies. So tell us, what are some hobbies of Scott Beck?
Yeah. Well, I would say it's maybe changed over the years, so I'll give you some of my historical ones. I used to play drums quite a bit. I still do from time to time, sit down
Nice.
and jam a little bit.
Okay. Full drum set?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
nice.
I do like to ride a motorcycle. And as far as hobbies, I don't have a lot of other hobbies that I do often. I find myself enjoying sometimes just work around the house, little projects that Chantel and I will do, or things with the kids. I mean, and now grandkids. But those are the little things that sometimes take up time over the weekends or evenings that make life feel more balanced outside of, coming to work and doing what we do here.
Finding that work-life balance is tough for all of us. As an owner of a major corporation, does it intensify? Has the balance gotten harder to maintain over time, or not necessarily? Maybe it happens so gradually.
In some ways, it's gotten easier.
Okay.
In some ways, I think more mentally, because I realize how important it is. I realize how important that time for not only my personal time, but time with my wife, time with my kids, grandkids. That all matters so much more than whether I finished up, the last little thing off my desk.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally, it's gotten easier. Now, sometimes it's still difficult to fit everything in.
So, Scott, tell me, when we're dealing with work-life balance, what about travel? What kind of travel demands do you have on your schedule?
Well, travel can be relative in terms of how much time is, what's a lot for one person is not a lot for another. I have a fair amount, but with the aircraft that we have for our prospective customers as well as our managers, it makes it a whole lot different than what it would be without it. So it's almost we get to travel, and also we get to get home.
That's so nice.
Most of the time.
You can avoid an overnight because
Yep.
you can just fly out, fly back.
Yep.
That's a big difference. As nice as some hotels are, it's still not home.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah. And there's times when I am out for conferences or events. Just last week, we didn't stay overnight, but one of the benefits of travel, we went to D.C. as a group, did some work with Soybean Association and some other groups, and met with legislators, and able to be back that same night. So,
Yep. Oh, that's slick.
That's
Very
really
handy.
cool.
Yeah. Outside of the office, outside of hobbies, you've also got a lot of other things going on. Weddings. You've got the well. Tell us a little bit about just all those other things you have going on.
yeah. So our daughter Jordan is engaged and getting married in August, and then her best friend from high school, who's been living with us for 4 years, is also getting married in September. That's her name's Sierra. So we have well, the wedding planning is not so much on me, but but Chantel and the girls have definitely putting forth the effort, and they're getting just about ready. So
Okay.
I think it's wise of you to kind of be like, I'm okay.
yeah,
I'm okay.
we've had conversations along the way, but they're managing the details. So
Yeah.
Good.
and they're having a great time doing it.
Oh, and it's a once in a lifetime privilege to get the chance to do that. And so what a neat opportunity for them to do that and to do it together as best friends.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so what a neat opportunity. Off the wall question, what are you binge watching right now? Or do you binge watch anything?
I don't watch a lot of TV. Sometimes my binge watching means that I've actually fallen asleep and the TV's still going.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That counts.
Are you
right?
still watching?
Yeah.
That pops out.
No, I don't watch a lot of TV. So,
Okay.
so
What about leisure travel, coolest place you've ever been? Where would you recommend Morgan and I go to?
oh, wow. Maybe one of the most impactful places was Israel. So I've been there a couple times, but there's just something about standing on, the Mount of Olives and looking over the city of Jerusalem.
Spectacular.
Yeah. And being in the garden where there's olive trees that were there at the same time that Christ was there.
Wow.
It's
That's
hard.
cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
There's just
amazing.
something surreal and meaningful and I don't know, just very real, about that place.
You can connect the story to the place in a
Yeah.
unique way.
Yeah.
I've heard that Golgotha and the tomb are not as left alone, so to speak, not as original as what it could be. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, there's actually a number of places there that there's disputes over where the actual site is. And, I don't know a lot about the historical part, but different churches over, hundreds of years ago claimed this was a site or whatever. And built a church over it and made it look different than what it looked like naturally, So that's a little bit more, I'd say, commercialized than just walking in the garden with the trees that were there when Jesus walked there.
Yes.
I mean, that's real.
The garden is untouched. Is that fair to say? There's not vendors selling things in the garden.
I don't recall that.
Okay. Neat. Ah,
Yeah.
that I would like to see. So Morgan will have to do that.
I'm in.
Record Across the Acres in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
That would make a unique experience. Okay. What about the legacy that your dad has built, is continuing to build in the seed industry? Those are big shoes to fill. What's your vision or goal of that, and is it different than it was when you were 26?
Well, yeah, you'd sent me a few questions ahead of time, and it's like, do I feel any pressure to fill those shoes, or what that's like?
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, that's kind of normal, I think.
You bet.
Yeah.
And yet what I've realized is that I'm wearing a different pair of shoes, there's a lot of things that my dad has taught me that I love and have, sought to, I guess, continue. But I'm me. And my worst day is when I compare myself to others, and it's a quote from the quote book that we gave out in 2020 to employees,
Yes.
when I compare myself to others, I always lose my way.
Yes.
And that's just been so true for me. And whenever I find myself in that place of thinking about that, and then I recognize it's like, okay, that's not the way to go.
All right.
I need to make my own decisions and do things the way that I'm called to do them. So,
Yes.
and that's really given me a lot of freedom from that, is me taking my own risks, making my own decisions, and living with the outcome. Some are better than others.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I learned from that and gain in who I am and confidence, and that doesn't take anything away from what my dad has done, but establishing more through my decisions and the direction that I'm going is filling the shoes that I'm living in.
That's right.
So,
And the biblical principle that it is unwise to compare ourselves to each other.
Yeah.
Because we're just not each other.
Yeah.
We are unique creation of God.
But it's so natural.
Yeah, I was going to say
that.
it's so hard not to do that.
Yeah.
Or to, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
tough.
very
and it's,
hard.
It's a struggle every day, I think, for, like you said, it's normal.
Yeah.
Everybody's human.
Yep.
Well, a wise man once told me that the shadow of a legacy is only cold as long as you choose to stand in it. And if we step out of that shadow and we're our own person making our own choices, good and bad, that we're in the sun then, and it's no longer a cold place.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good advice, and it just kind of echoes in my ear because people naturally compare you to your dad. They compare me to mine. They might compare Morgan to, someone else. You never know. Well, they are not me, and I'm not them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. What do you admire most about your dad?
Dad has just a unique gift, I think, of and he's very intentional about it, using it, of thinking ahead. And where do we want to be? What might happen? How do we prepare? And so that natural gifting and vision, I think, has meant a lot to our family and to the business. And then the other part is that he doesn't quit. I mean, he sees something and he'll charge hard after it, because he sees how it maybe needs to go, and a lot of things work out, and some of them don't. But those are a couple things that I admire. And then as a kid growing up, the thing that I really remember was Dad took time. Often on a Sunday afternoon, he would say, "What do you want to do? We're going to do anything you want to do." And so sometimes that was playing ball or riding motorcycles, and sometimes he would say, "Hey, I got to go to the field to scout on my motorcycle. You can come along, and then maybe if we get done, we'll have some time to, ride around the creek bottom or, do the play riding."
Oh, sure.
So I would go along and just kind of hang out while Dad was checking corn plants, and there's a few things that he'd teach me along the way, but I was really looking forward to when we could just ride around the field or down through the creek. So.
You bet. And what a spectacular creek
Yeah.
to ride in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is just a cool property and a cool spot.
Yep.
And I drive in whenever I get the chance and just slow over the creek and look at it because it's just picturesque. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And really, when Chantal and I built the house back in 2004 along the creek, back half a mile off the road, really that was a dream of mine, to be able to live on the farm. We found a place back there where just the view over the creek bend, it's like, yeah, this is what I want to look at when I wake up in the morning.
This is my spot.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we've been so blessed to be able to do things like that. You mentioned the well earlier. It's a property in Michigan that we purchased last fall. It's been fun. I mean, we've had a great chance to work together on that. It was basically a lodge with a couple of log cabins and a couple other houses and about 500 acres of hunting ground. And so it's and the property manager wanted to continue working there. So he and his wife, and that was a big part of the investment, being able to know that we got people that can take care of the day-to-day stuff. And we're working towards a program of being able to host business retreats and maybe pastoral type retreats, marriage retreats, men and women's retreats, things that help us all to get away and recharge and reconnect and so that we can come back and be better at what we do.
Absolutely.
So, and we had a few Beck's groups up there already, and it's also hunting. So we got a veterans hunt. Well, this is going to be broadcast probably in June, I'm guessing. But
yes,
this weekend in May, we've got a veterans hunt that's taken place. So
Neat.
yeah,
Nice.
where we provide that no cost to the veterans, and so
Very special.
That's cool.
And the well, how far away from here are we talking from Atlanta? Roughly?
3 hours.
Oh, not bad.
No.
Zip up there and
Yep.
500 acres, you can have the chance to stretch out and do a little hunting,
Yep.
which we learned last time you did for the very first time this fall. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, turkey hunt. Yeah.
Turkey
first time.
hunt.
Yep. So I got a hen in the fall and on the first shot, and
Good job.
I got a tom this spring on my second shot. Well, first shot, but I've taken 2 shots at turkeys and I've hit them both.
Wow. That's a really good percentage
Yeah.
right there.
And I can't take all the credit because I was with a really good guide that helped call them in. So
The guides are really good, especially when it comes
Yeah.
to turkeys. They're so hard to hunt.
Yeah.
Very intelligent creature, and
yep.
guides make or break us.
Can you do a turkey call?
Um,
You don't have to on here.
no,
Don't worry.
I won't attempt that.
Oh, man. That takes practice.
Yeah.
That is not easy to do. But what would you like, looking back, maybe another 15, 20 years from now, what would you want your kids to say they admire most about you? Do you have like a legacy in mind?
Well, I celebrated my 59th birthday on May 5th, and so I got some nice texts from my kids. And some of the things that they said that I really appreciated was, Dad, thanks, you've been such an encouragement to me. Recognized, appreciate your leadership, your friendship, the ways you've helped me, and your love and care. So
That's good.
those are pretty special to hear on my birthday, and if I can continue to live in a way that I would hear those on my last breath, that would be all right.
That's a win right there. Absolutely. You've been very intentional in how you and Chantel have raised the kids. What have you utilized? What, I don't want to say protect them, but shelter them from the business so that they weren't only focused on Beck's hybrids. You guys were a family growing up, and you did some intentional things to make sure that they were a family. What were some of those things? What intentional ways to raise your kids?
Well, we were intentional about the importance of work, and my kids tell me now that they used to hate it on Saturday mornings when they'd wake up and I'd have a list of jobs for them to do, and then when they got off to college, they said, "Dad, I'm glad you had us do that because some of these kids up here don't know how to work."
Yes.
So I'd say that. And not only things around the house, but we were intentional about getting them involved in different areas of the company as they were growing up. Most of them worked in, I would say, at least 3 different areas of the business, if not more, just to get them exposed and discover what they liked, what they didn't like. We've spent time, our whole family has spent time vacationing together over the years. Now, it's been harder as families have gotten larger and schedules get more complicated, but I think that's been a strength of ours as a family, is to be able to continue to not only work together, but play together. And then something that I did with the kids was, when they were younger, was we had, they called it together time, but one Christmas I said that, okay, on each day of the week, each of you gets to pick a day, and we're going to spend an hour together. That's yours. That's your day. So, but the rules were, it was, most of the time it's going to be anything that you want to do. Occasionally it'll be whatever I'm doing. You can come with me.
Yep.
And sometimes we're just going to have to not do it or reschedule, because it doesn't work out for either one of us. But
Life happens.
yeah, but I remember coming home and they would talk about, today's my together time with Dad, So that time together really is I think one of the secrets. If there is a secret, it's what kids really crave. And my pastor, a while back, shared on this family series he was doing on parenting, was be present be persistent and let God fill in the gaps, because none of us are perfect in our parenting. But if we're present and we're persistent in the things that matter, I mean, we were persistent about the things that, I already talked about. We were persistent about their faith and the importance of going to church together and serving. And so I think those things all planted some seeds that we're seeing the fruit of today as they're now adults and living those types of lives.
Absolutely. And we're glad to have 3 of them back in the business, 3 of the 5. What brought those 3 back to the business, do you think? And obviously I'm making you speak for them, but what's the draw for a Beck grandchild to say, no, I'm willing to come back because this is what I want to be a part of? I'm assuming you didn't make them come back, right? There was nope, you got to be a part of the family business. In fact, you encouraged them to get experiences outside of the business. So what do you think brought them back?
Well, I've heard a couple of them talk about the people the employees that they worked with here, mm-hmm. and those opportunities that we gave them and that they had created some memories and connection. They each have had a season where they worked somewhere else. In fact, it's a requirement for any of the grandkids to have a couple of outside experiences, whether it's part-time or seasonal work or something, somewhere else before they can even apply to work full-time. So they got to have a couple of experiences. But our kids have all worked full-time somewhere else, and then came back and because we really encouraged that part, especially if they thought they wanted to manage, and lead people here, we want them to have that experience in another company. So 3 boys have done that, and they're back here working full time. I think they just they like the culture. They like how we relate with employees and customers, and they're drawn to those relationships.
Absolutely. It was interesting when we were interviewing Chris, so shameless plug for that episode. Go please see Chris Beck's episode. He was talking a lot about whom had helped shape him, mm-hmm. fellow employees that had helped raise him. And that's a really powerful testimony to our culture, is that people here are ones you would actually want to help raise your kids. And in some work environments, that may or may not be the case.
True.
And what a blessing that we can turn your kids loose here and say, hey, go work with anyone, and it's going to be a good experience. They're going to make you work, and you're going to learn something new.
Yeah. Well, most anyone,
most
David.
of them.
Most anyone, David.
Yeah, except for maybe the education department.
Thinking of you.
No, thanks, Scott. Love you too. It is. It's just a really unique environment that we're in, and it's hard to explain. It's hard to express until you experience it. But going back to Dad for just a second, do you have any favorite memories that you when you think of your childhood growing up, mm-hmm. anything blink into the mind?
Well, I shared one of them earlier, those Sunday afternoons when it was just my time with him. One other memory when I started working here, I was planting our PFR plots, and I had messed up on how to plant, this one plot. And I came in and shared it with him, and he's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. He said, well, I think we could probably make lemonade out of this. You did this so I can see where we can have this type of a study. We didn't intend to do that, but now we can learn from this,
Perfect.
So it was like recognizing that, I'm going to make mistakes. Other employees are going to make mistakes. And how do we learn from it? How do we make the best of it? And how do we still use it?
Absolutely. That might be the greatest parenting challenge, is when our children do things that we would prefer they didn't, or they just make an honest mistake, our reaction in that moment, how we respond. Is it in anger, or is it to just say, we can make lemonade here. This is a lemon. Sure, would prefer you hadn't done this. But to stay calm, cool, collected, and make a rational, logical response as opposed to an emotional one. Whew, that's tough.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't for you as a parent, but for me, some days I'm like, why did you do that? But I know I did that to my parents. Morgan, you never did that to yours.
No, not at all.
Ever.
Perfect child.
Every time.
Angel.
Oh, man. But it's a learning process for all of us. Kids don't come with a manual. And if they did, it would need to be individualized for every single kid. So that's a unique problem. But
Thousands of pages long.
oh, yeah. With an index
Yeah.
on it, too, would be very powerful. The best advice your dad's ever given you?
Best advice. I remember as a kid him talking about the importance of just how we think. And he's like, I've seen people that, and you know, a person can make themselves sick just by how they think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's something that, has just continued on in his example and things that I've taken from that in terms of perspective, and we get to choose our perspective. And that's what Andy Andrews talks a lot about. We get to choose our perspective on things.
We sure do.
And, we can be a victim, or we can be someone who takes responsibility, and that's one of the things I think is probably most important. It has been in my growth and personal development, both with hard things in life and areas where I'm working on, and just in general too. It's just how am I going to think about this? How do I choose to frame this up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't choose what happens to us. We can choose how we respond.
Yeah.
And how we internalize it or don't.
Right. And what I'm learning more is about how to choose to respond in a healthy way that actually doesn't keep it like stuffed inside of me.
Buried away.
Allows me to get things out that I may be uncomfortable talking about, or makes me very vulnerable. But it's important, I'm learning, that we have those people in our life that we can talk to.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Amen to that. Advice then that you would give to us, whether it's your kids, your employees, what's a couple of lasting nuggets we can cling to?
Yeah. Well, I think it doesn't get much simpler or sometimes more hard to do than the two commands: love God and love your neighbor.
Oof. Yeah. Some days those are really hard.
Simple, not easy.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Easy to say, hard to do.
Yes.
Absolutely. Morgan, what did I miss? What other questions
I think
you
you
got?
covered it all.
Okay. You sure? I know I'd hate to miss. We're probably not going to get Scott back ever. He's going to run out of here going, thank goodness that's over with. Those two guys are crazy. But
No.
okay. Scott, anything else you would like to share?
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing in helping us to get to know our employees, dealers, other people in a different way than what we may see or experience, and bringing that color out from each individual that sometimes is refreshing to hear and see. So thank you for your work.
Hey, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Morgan is really mad at me all the time, but other than that, we get along great, so it's a lot of fun.
Never mad at you.
We actually probably have a little too much fun doing this.
That may be true.
So you probably shouldn't pay us for this time, but we're thankful that you are. So thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry. That was a look. Well, we got to close out with the Fun Fast Five.
Of course.
So if you're prepared, I tried my best to be kind because your name is on the sign.
We'll
Have you
see.
seen these? Because I have not.
Yeah.
No, I haven't, and
Morgan's
I experienced
trying
the last Fast Five.
I was going to say,
And he
he's
did
known
really
for
well.
sending false questions to people as well. So.
It's a true story. Only like every time. But we're going to start out easy. So if you're ready.
Okay.
Corn or soybeans?
Corn.
Okay. Rodeo clown or matador?
I have no idea. Rodeo clown.
Yeah, good choice. Stay in the office or get in the tractor cab?
Oh my gosh. Depends on the season.
Good answer.
Anymore, it's I'm in the office more but it's great to get out occasionally.
It is.
Yep.
Hike or jog?
Hike.
Okay. And then last but not least, write a story or write a poem.
Write a story.
And have you ever written a story?
No. Well, I'm sure I have at some point. But
Sure.
Yeah, I have.
Couple pages for a class at Purdue, perhaps.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but nothing since. You're not a writer per se,
No.
or a journalist.
No. And so you bring that up. I probably actually have written more poems than stories.
Okay. Love poems to your beautiful bride?
Well,
or?
poems, yeah. I would say I've done that for Chantel. When my grandfather, Moseball, passed away a long time ago, 3 of us kids wrote up a poem for that. So just special occasions.
You bet.
Yeah.
You know what? This did pop into my brain, and I think it's a good question to finish with. If you had the chance to drum behind a band
Ooh.
and play any of their songs, which song would it be? Which band and which song?
Probably. So Third Day is my favorite Christian rock band.
Oh, good choice.
But on the secular side, I would say there's some Eric Clapton songs that I could play too.
Okay.
Would be fun. So.
And which Eric Clapton song? And if you want to say, you don't have to.
I don't recall right now.
That's okay. If you're going to play behind Third Day, Call My Name. That would be my choice for you to drum out on. That's got a fantastic just rhythm and power to it. I love that song.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it just popped into my head. You know how Motley Crue had the rig that went up and spun around?
Yes.
And he played the drums upside down?
Yes.
Summer Camp? I'm just...
Perfect.
I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah, well.
All those in favor, please vote aye. That's quite the drum set, by the way. They were able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy did that. There's actually a Christian rock band that modeled it after them as well, copycatted it, and made
Who?
it.
Do you know?
I can't remember their name. My kids would, but
Yeah, I've seen them.
we were at Life Fest in 21, and they performed, and I saw it. And at first, I thought something was going very wrong, and then I realized what they were doing, and it's spectacular to watch. How, as a drummer, do you keep your sense of where you are?
I can't even keep a beat, so don't ask me.
It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, you're going against gravity, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just amazing to see that happen. But yeah, I could see you behind Third Day.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Okay, so no to summer camp. I'll give you extravaganza on the rig.
That'd give us a little more time to build it.
Get time to build it, practice.
Yeah. We'll aim for that.
Yeah.
I have more great ideas too. So
Okay.
By the way, if there's somebody who knows how to get in touch with Mac Powell, and he's looking for a drummer behind Third Day, we've got the guy. I don't have Mac's number, but I did email him once in an attempt to get some 4-part music from him, and I didn't ever get a response. But I get it. He's probably a little busy.
Yeah.
So, Scott, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
It's been a real treat. Thank you for joining us on Across the Acres, where our goal is to connect, challenge, inspire. Please tune in next time, where we hope to have someone new to interview. Also, give us a 5-star rating and review on the podcast provider of your choice. And until next time, we will catch you across the acres.